my name is Adiola Adeshina, and you can call me Desh. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to yet another episode review of the animation One Night Stand. Of course, we are now in episode 5, and here is the highlight of everything that happened in episode 5. We see that despite the fact that Dolapo has decided to be on the run, she goes to a village, a remote village. She still gets caught. Dolapo is caught and arrested in episode 5. Also in this episode, we see the power of dream come to play. So there was a time that Dolapo had a dream, a terrible dream towards her mom. She decided to call her brother to be sure of the state of their mother. And of course, her brother confirms that their mother is terribly sick. Because of this information, Dolapo decides to send money to her brother. As a result of the transaction on Dolapo's account, the police is able to trace Dolapo to where she is located, and she's arrested.
Dolapo, you are under arrest for the murder of Chief Gbadebo.
As the story progresses, investigation is not properly done, which is deliberate, of course, because of some background power that is being used. Dolapo is sentenced to prison.
Dolapo, given that you were the only one placed in the crime scene, you have been found guilty and hereby sentenced to life imprisonment behind bars.
Ha!
3 years down the line, an NGO springs up and picks interest in Dolapo's case. The founder of this NGO is no other person than Mrs. Famaki. Yeah, you might be wondering, who is Mrs. Famaki? I'll need you to watch the episode by yourself to find out indeed who Mrs. Famaki is. Apart from the fact that she's the founder of the NGO that fights for people that are unjustly sentenced to prison, why did she pick a special interest in Dolapo's case? Something funny happened in this episode. Yeah, Jackson. We all remember Jackson. Jackson is Dolapo's broke ex-boyfriend, who has of course moved on. And now Jackson has to represent Dolapo on behalf of Mrs. Famaki's NGO. This is awkward, right? How is Jackson going to do this?
Ma, did you say Dolapo Ayodeji?
Yes, I did. Do you have a problem with that?
No, ma'am.
Good.
This is awkward, right? How is Jackson going to do this? Well, we see that despite the shock on Jackson's face that he has to represent Dolapo, he still does not reveal the information to Mrs. Famaki, his relationship with Dolapo prior to the whole case, which I think is wrong. Even in the court of law, Jackson could lose his license for withholding the information of his relationship to the accused from the court. He could lose his license or get knocked off the case due to his emotional attachment to the accused. Jackson meets Ireti. Ireti is the daughter of Mrs. Famaki, who is Jackson's boss. Jackson is now a co-worker to Ireti, and also Ireti is Jackson's senior.
So would you let me take you out on a proper date?
Why would you want to do that?
Because I feel like just washing your dress is not enough. Just with so much guilt. I want to make it up to you.
You have done enough. I will see you around.
Very funny scenario. I wonder how anyone would fall for that kind of antic. The stunt Jackson pulled. But well, it's fine. Of course, it is my tradition to bring casts from the show as guests. So now, my guest for today is no other person but Mrs. Famaki. Join me as I welcome Mrs. Famaki.
Hello.
Hello, Mrs. Famaki. How do you do?
I'm doing good, thank you. And you?
Fine, thank you. So, thank you for agreeing to be on the show with me today. And of course, I have a couple of questions for you. So, Mrs. Famaki, why did you pick interest in Dolapo's case, despite the fact that there are numerous other cases? Is there something that you want us to know?
You know, as a woman and as a mother, I feel pity for the young lady Dolapo. I don't know, something tells me that she's innocent and I feel she needs help. I know how it feels to be wrongly accused, and it will be bad if I can't help the innocent girl when I have the means to.
Thank you very much, Ms. Famaki. That's thoughtful of you. Another question I have is it okay to flee a crime scene despite the fact that one is innocent? What are your takes on this?
It's not good to flee from a crime scene. Fleeing can be termed as being guilty, but We can't blame her. Our judicial system is nothing to write home about.
Wow, thank you for that information. My last question for you, Mrs. Famaki, is that you have Jackson as your staff, and of course, Ireti, your daughter, is also working with you. What if peradventure in future something happens between Ireti and Jackson? I want to know if you're going to give your blessings, ma.
I don't like when my staff mix pleasure with business. I'm a disciplinarian and I don't condone nonsense. More so, it is against my company policy that my member of staff dates. If Jackson loves my daughter, he will need to get himself another job first. Then, he can get my blessing if I see his seriousness and commitment to the relationship.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mrs. Famaki, for joining me on today's show. So to you, my beautiful viewers, you know I never leave without a passing question. And now my passing question for you today is particularly going to be of interest to ladies. Yeah. So, as a lady, would you even consider advances from a junior colleague? For me, I think it's going to be awkward. I probably won't do it, but I don't know what you think. Till I come your way again next time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.